Jerron Bradley, Power and Leadership Enterprise. What I'm about to discuss on, it may seem like I'm bullshitting y'all because I got the palm trees in the background. But at the same time, y'all can tell, man, it's all messed up. The skies is gray. And this is why, like, when people come to Florida, they be surprised it's raining. I mean, it's our rain season. But my topic is business is not easy. And I would say that this cloudy day is a great example of me proving that it's not easy. It's like, all right, I want to be able to put out my content and be able to do my video, and then it's raining. It's raining. And the whole thing is, when we design the business model, when we design the business plan that we have in our mind, it doesn't come with obstacles. And I would think that if someone is imagining their ideas and all they can think about is the obstacles in the way, I would say that they are, to a considerable extent, being pessimistic. And I get it, to where people feel that to see the obstacles from far out, that you would have to say to yourself, like, well, I'm just being real about the situation. And, you know, I think that's important as well. But at the same time, I feel like the courage, the gumption, the initiative, the ambition that one has or will need to succeed, it will be as if there are no obstacles. And I can't help but think about when, I don't know if it was the book Rich Dad or Poor Dad, when it was mentioned that a good CEO says, I think it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a good CEO says that when they see the obstacles, that how do I get around them, compared to the worker or someone that's pessimistic, they'll look at it as if I can't get around it. And so I feel like it's good to be real about a situation and understanding your pathway around those obstacles, but they in no way should be the end all be all that's going to define your existence. Because at the end of the day, a business is a name on the paper. You have to put the logo down. You have to put the motto down. You have to write down your services, your products. You're going to have to determine the plan of action that's going to make sure that the people that can actually benefit from those products will actually be the one that will be receiving those products, and that you're not selling an item to someone that's not even interested. Okay? So I just think it's really important that people already have that understanding that business is not going to be easy. You know, there's going to be obstacles, and sometimes I feel like we have to embrace the fact that we can work with only with what we have. And I mentioned it before to a group that you have what you need. You have what you need. And I feel like we can waste so much time thinking that when we execute, that things have to be perfect. And that doesn't just go for people trying to start a business, but for people that are in their everyday lives working, people that can take this message into their workout routine, people that are trying to fix their life and, you know, mend relationships, people that, you know, ultimately and genuinely want to change their life around. Business is not easy. And the thing is, business doesn't have to necessarily be the trade or that which you want to contribute to the commerce of, whichever respective county, country, or what have you. Your business is just basically you taking care of that which is important to you. Where you see a demand, that you supply to that demand. That could be your street hustling. And when I say street hustle, I'm not talking about the illegal activities, but just the person who you are on the streets, the person that everyone respects. Like, yeah, I like that person's characteristics. I like their energy. I like being around them. Like, you being just a good friend, you being a good person, business is not easy. And I think that a lot of times people, I found myself in the slump sometimes, that thinking it's going to be perfect, that I'm going to hang in the balance. I'm going to contemplate my idea and get everything together. And it's like, man, you got to work with what you have and execute. Put it all together later. Write down your experiences later. Visualize what you were doing and try to do better. You know what I mean? Business is not always going to be easy. And I read so many times where it may take you 2 or 3 years, it may take you 4 or 5 years. You see certain people, they don't start making it until they're like older, in their 60s. But I can say sometimes you gotta, you don't want to necessarily have to learn the hard way to figure out a lesson. And when so many people, hundreds of people are saying all the sacrifices that I had to go through, it was well worth it, you gotta say to yourself, like, that sounds like a good deal. And I will say, for someone that's been working 10, 15 plus years, that sounds like a path I'm willing to go down. And I feel like if you have a routine that you are following each and every day, and then someone tells you to do a different routine, that it will be a bit unfamiliar. It will be a bit uncomfortable for you to, do a different routine. Especially when the fruits of that labor are, then the due season is years away compared to instant gratification. But one thing I'm learning is, like, when people are giving me a wage, telling me a salary, and they are putting a price tag on my value, when the experiences, the downfalls, the celebrations that I went through, my bad, are priceless, that to put a price tag to it, who's to say I'm not worth more? And I say more only because it can go the negative way, where who's to say I'm really worth less? But I feel like in a life that we are striving to move forward, we are striving to come up, maybe because it's a capitalist society, or maybe, if you're listening to this, you're looking for that motivation, or you're looking to see what Jerron's talking about when it's coming to business success, is that, we're going to keep it on the positive end. But at the same time, we really got to know business is not easy. And I mentioned it in a video where I talk about rationality versus irrationality, is that the rational person knows that the shortcomings of their personality. They know the shortcomings of, who they are as a person, so that when the obstacles come, that when they have that stimulus response to respond how they know they would all naturally do, that they won't fold, they won't buckle under pressure, that they will take the situation and use it as a stepping stool to make sure that they are achieving the goals that they already had in mind from the beginning. So you declaring it is not easy is really a solution in place for the bullshit that's to come. I'm gonna say that again. You mentioning business is not easy is already putting in a solution for the bullshit that's to come. So if you're going through some hard times, whether it be the sales are low, whether it be, you're not seeing any source of revenue for the time and the money that you're putting in, it's okay. And, purposefully, I'm doing this video downtown just to show that downtown Tampa, this is years in the making. This is years in the making. You can do the history that these buildings, they didn't come just 10 years ago, just 20 years ago, just 30 years ago. And in these buildings, there could have been other businesses that could not make it through the downtime. It more so caught them off guard to where they had to react to it. But if you already understand that business is not easy, you're going to be proactive in understanding the things that you need to do right now to handle some of the things that are going to be in your way right now, but also to foresee the things that are to come, and that you are very organized and that you are planning in accordance to your market and the environment around you. And I would love to sit down with anyone that wants to talk about this. I would love for anyone to leave comments below to talk about this. But ultimately, business is not easy, but at the same time, life is what you make it. I'm gonna catch up with y'all. Like I said, let's keep this conversation going. Let's build an enterprise, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side.